welcome everyone back to the channel, Flat Tire Dan. Good to see everybody. Yes, I am outside in front of the camper again. No particular reason other than I just like being out here. It's a beautiful day outside, but you'll probably hear some road noise, and I apologize for that, but it's too nice to be inside. So if you follow us on Instagram, flat_tire_Dan, and if you don't, you should. You would have seen this morning that that we got some new tires for the F-150, and that I was going to do a review of those tires and maybe explain to you why I'm doing a review, just because it's not something that we normally do on the channel here. So I figured we'd get right into it. I got new tires for my 2022 F-150. Now the truck's only a little over a year old, but it's already got 55,000 miles on it because I drive a lot for work. And so it was due for some new tires. Now in the past, whenever I replaced tires on a new vehicle with something, you know, after a certain period of time, I never or very seldom replace it with the same tire it came with. Normally these trucks come with just like an upgraded car tire, you know, and I always like something a little more aggressive and a little more all-terrain looking and performing. And so normally I will upgrade to something of that fashion. Now my go-to normally is Nitto tires. Their Grappler series, the Terra Grappler, the Ridge Grappler, the Recon Grappler. Had a lot of success with them. They've lasted a long time. You know, they're priced fairly. They perform well. I like how they look. And so that's normally my go-to, and that was my plan with the F-150. I went to my tire guy a little over a week ago, wanted to order them up. And he made me aware that right now Nitto is having some production issues, and the Recon Grappler, which is what I wanted, wasn't available in my tire size, and he wasn't sure when it would be. And I kind of needed tires, right? So I asked him if he could recommend, because I trust the guy, a similar tire, you know, it's price, quality, look, that he would recommend for my truck. And he recommended to me a brand new series from Cooper Tires. It's called their Discoverer Road and Trail AT, all-terrain tire. And that it just recently released and was intended to replace the long-standing all-terrain tire from Cooper called the Cooper AT. That, you know, I have friends with them that rave about them, and they've been around forever, and they've been a great tire, but Cooper had designed a new tire to replace that, and it was the Discoverer tire. And so I was like, okay, well, you know, I trust your opinion, so go ahead and order them up, and I'm going to go home, I'm going to do a little research of my own, like I always do, and then I'll let you know if for any reason I don't want them. Now, you know, my research has always been, and I spoke about this on the channel before, I just go to YouTube, because I want to look for in-person reviews, you know, people who have bought them and used them, and they can show me pictures of them on their truck, whatever it may be. And that's the kind of information I like to gather before I make a purchase like this. But I was surprised that I couldn't find anything really on YouTube about this new series of tires from Cooper. And after a minute or two, I figured out that's probably because they're so brand new that nobody has had the opportunity to purchase them and use them in such a way where they could give you a review yet. And so I figured, well, you know, why not be the first? You know, why not do a quick review, show you some pictures, tell you my experience with the tires, and kind of help people out on YouTube, maybe that don't normally watch my channel, you know, but that might for this tire review. And so if I'm the first one to do it, great, you know, but like I said, I couldn't find anything myself, so I figured I would do that. And my guys, you know, and girls that already view the channel, hopefully you'll enjoy it as well. So I guess before I get into the review, why don't I show them to you on my truck? Okay, so here they are on the truck, sunny side of the truck. Apologize for my shadow. And they're the same tire size that I took off the truck, 275/60 R20. And so they kind of fit with the truck, and they fill the wheel wells, I think, appropriately, not too much. I've never been a fan of going bigger on tire size just because it affects fuel mileage and speedometers and stuff. But they got kind of a cool, aggressive look. They've got that sidewall tread. That's a big thing these days that I like, that my Nitto's always had. And like I said, they're the same size tire. And I'll try and get you an angle here. But to me, they look considerably wider than my old tires, which in turn kind of changes the whole look of the truck. Gives it more of a planted off-road type stance, which was my goal. So this is the non-sunny side, and it gives you a better look at kind of the tread pattern and the sidewall tread and everything. I'm real happy with how they look. I think they fit the truck well. Okay, so we really like how they look, but I guess you're saying to yourself, how can you do any type of performance review, only having had the tires on your truck for a week? I had them installed last Thursday. And so I guess then I can explain it to you. I drive a lot for work. So I had them installed Thursday, and I drove around all day Friday, kind of around town stuff. Stop and start, 20 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, that kind of stuff. And they felt great. I mean, they rode smooth. One of the big questions you get with an all-terrain tire is, are they noisy, right? Do they hum as you roll down the road? And to be honest with you, my Nittos did a bit, but it was not something that ever bothered me. But I can tell you, these are considerably quieter than that. Like, I barely hear them. So as far as noise level, 0. And then, so we drove around all day Friday, right? And then Saturday morning, I got up and I jumped on the highway to head back up to Albany to visit some family, which is like 200 miles. And it rained all day Saturday. So we were, 60, 65, 70 miles an hour on the highway most of the morning Saturday morning in considerable rain. And the truck felt great. Again, it felt planted, didn't sway around a lot, didn't feel like I was hydroplaning at all. Came up on like one of those gaper delays where people are stopped for no reason, had to lay on the brakes pretty hard. Truck reacted exactly like I would have liked it to. Drove around some up there, came home Sunday, the weather was perfect. Now I'm doing 75, 80 miles an hour on the highway, got the cruise control set, and the thing just hummed down the road really nice, like nice and smooth. So far, low speed, high speed, highway, rain, they've done great. Now, snow's coming, and I will certainly, update you when we get a chance to drive them in the snow. As far as any type of off-road review, I really don't use my truck for off-roading. I've got the Can-Am for that, so I don't know that you'll ever find that here. But as far as everything else, highway use, that kind of stuff, so far so good. So I would recommend them. And good price point. They weren't crazy money, and they weren't considerably cheap where you felt like you were buying cheap, right? If you're new to the channel and you're watching for the first time because this is the first tire review you could find, welcome. While you're here, maybe check out some other stuff on the channel. I think we're into some pretty cool stuff here. And if you like any of that, then please subscribe to the channel. It does help us reach more viewers and create more content. We have had a couple of small milestones in the last week or so as far as subscription and viewership. So for those of you who have been viewing and subscribing, thank you so much. Really grateful. Like, small for the YouTube world, but big for us. So really, really do appreciate everybody who's been tuning in. Coming up, we are planning on getting this thing out one more time. And right now, as long as the weather forecast doesn't change, not this weekend, but next, we're going to go and get out again. And we got a cool spot we're going to go to. And we're certainly going to bring you along if we do go. Been getting a lot of questions still about when we're going to do the deep dive, so the walk around review of our Can-Am X3 XRC Turbo RR, for those of you who are new to the channel. We've done everything else. Why haven't we done that? We certainly are looking forward to sharing it with you. But there's one other thing I want to share with you when I do, and that's not ready yet. And so I want to do both at the same time. I promise you it's coming, and we'll give you a close look at that machine. And then, I guess, concerning questions, we've been doing this for a little over a year, and we kind of get some reoccurring questions that I kind of answer when I get them, whether it be on Instagram or in the comments or whatever, but really haven't gotten into depth with them. Like I'll give you a couple examples, like where'd the name come from, right? Who is this we you keep speaking of? Like, I talk a lot in we's and us, and you only ever see me for the most part, and Triton, right? But I can tell you that it's not just me. Like, it takes way more than me to put this type of stuff together, and not only from just the creation of the channel, but getting out and doing all this cool stuff. And so maybe I won't go into detail on exactly who it is, but I can talk a little bit about what they do and how they help me. How long have you been doing this stuff? I guess these next two questions kind of go together. Like, what do you do for a day job, and how do you have the time and resources to do all this cool stuff? I think they kind of go together. So anyway, that's sort of an example, and I think I might put like an entire episode together to just kind of address those in depth, because they have been reoccurring. So if you have questions like that about the channel and as a whole in general, go ahead and hit me up in the comments, or follow us on Instagram and hit me up there, and I'll try and include them in that episode. That is Shadow, by the way. That's my cat. I don't think you've met her. I think you've seen some pictures. She likes the camper. Okay, so I guess that's it. Again, thank you. Super grateful for everybody's tuning in. And remember, stay tuned for more content from Flat Tire Dan. We'll see you.